Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books, and today I'm here to talk to you about A Memory of Light by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. This is the final book in the Wheel of Time. 20 months, 4 million words, how many thousand pages? How many hours of videos? It's been a long road getting from there to here. And we're done. This was really important to me. This series of books was before I read them, before I joined BookTube. This was just the books that my weird friend Sam loved. And Sam isn't me. I have two friends and a brother called Sam. Long story. So he loved these books, and he would always talk about how they were fantastic. They were the best series of books ever written. And then, on the other hand, all you'd hear from BookTube was, oh, I hate the Wheel of Time, but it's the best series I've ever read. Or like, oh, 2/3 of the books are bad. I remember I put up a video when I first started reading, talking about how excited I was to read the series, and somebody said that they thought the slog started at book 4. And I was like, so book 4 of a 14-book series is where you think the slog begins, and you don't think it ends until book 12. A lot of people will try and scare you off reading this series, and this book, not this book in particular, actually, not this book in particular. A lot of people will try and scare you off of reading this series, and it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. There are aspects of this series, of the slog books, of which I really only think two. One is actively mediocre, and is only actively mediocre because of the structure of the book. If the book had a different structure, that would have been just as good as the other weaker books in the series. I feel like there's not even any point in going like, here's my tier list of the Wheel of Time, because it's like 11 books in the S tier, 2 books in the A tier, and then like 2 books in the B tier or C tier, you know? Like, all of these books are good. Really, they are all good, but some of them are excellent. Some of them are the best fantasy books ever written. And I would place A Memory of Light in that league. I think this is the best book Brandon Sanderson has ever written. I think that there's really one flaw with this book. And for those of you who are watching this and are huge Wheel of Time fans, I want to apologise up front and say that these videos that I record by myself about Wheel of Time are spoiler-free. And by spoiler-free, I mean that I don't spoil the individual book that I'm discussing. I do spoil the previous books. So I can tell you, for example, that Rand is the Dragon Reborn. I can tell you, for example, that Moraine was raised from the dead, kind of, in Towers of Midnight. But I can't tell you how this book ends. What I can tell you is how I felt about it. And I felt really fantastic about it. So I thought the ending in particular was really well done. One of the big things that Robert Jordan does throughout the series is foreshadow how things are going to happen. And through characters like Min, who can see the future, or Egwene, who can dream possible futures, or visits to Ruidian, where the Aiel are able to see events that have not yet happened. Jordan is able to weave those together into the fabric of the story. And Sanderson also does this very well. And I would say that one of the best things that Sanderson does is be a huge fan of this series. Sanderson obviously loves The Wheel of Time, and you can feel his love for these characters dripping off the pages of this book. It's really interesting. I had migrated throughout the series more and more towards the audiobooks. So originally when I started, I pretty much, I think Either World I eyeball read pretty much 100%. Then as we went on, it was probably a little bit more audio each time, till we got to the slog books where I was doing 100% audio while playing puzzle games on my phone. Just to like, I say slog books. The two books that I think are the weaker books in the Wheel of Time, those I basically 100% audioed. And then we get to this book and we're kind of back where we were at the beginning. I really did read via this physical copy most of this book. So I started the last battle, right? So the last battle, famously, the last battle chapter is like 300 pages. So I think it starts somewhere around here. Let's keep going. It's 9 hours of audio. And is this it? No, it's after here. So I had already gone too far when I said the last battle starts here. I don't actually know where it is. This is making fantastic content, I'll tell you right now. The actual contents will tell me. So 677 is where page 677 is where the last battle starts, and it ends at page 898. So 225 pages, 9 hours of audio, and I read. So I read everything up to the last battle on Sunday. So Sunday night, I got to the last battle and closed the book because I was like, I don't want to start the last battle at like 10 o'clock at night. I want to start it fresh. So Monday this week, not yesterday because it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Monday was a bank holiday, and my wife took the kids out for the morning, so I had time to read then. And then I went for a run, so I listened to the audiobook. Then I went to the gym, so I listened to the audiobook. And then my son, just by coincidence, fell asleep super early. And so I had like 5 straight hours worth of reading time in the evening. And I just read the whole book. So I got from page 677 that I was on first thing in the morning, and by midnight I was at page 1010, the final page. So yeah, it's a big one. This is it. I finished it, and like I said, I loved it. I think Jordan and gave Sanderson the best possible, places to go. And I think that Sanderson gave us a really fantastic ending. Like I said before, I do think this is maybe Sanderson's best book. I think that the quality of the last battle in particular, so like all of the action. So this book the last battle is basically the whole book. And the factions of the light are fighting on multiple different fronts, and eventually one big battle occurs. And that one big battle is almost all about, pushing the enemy back long enough for Rand to win. And even though that might seem unsatisfying for that battle, it's incredibly the opposite, incredibly satisfying. We get really smart uses of the magic and the lore and the world building that you'd be expecting from Brandon Sanderson. We get callbacks to important characters from across the series that I think some of which Robert Jordan had kind of forgotten. Characters like Hurin, for example. Hurin that came back in, I want to say, The Gathering Storm. We hadn't seen him since The Great Hunt, where he was basically a main character, and then he just never showed up again. And then, we got all these fantastic resolutions for these characters. We got great endings for characters. We got great, new beginnings for others. When I finished reading the book, I sat down and watched Brandon Sanderson's 10-year Wheel of Time live stream. And he talked about the sequel series that was planned, which was going to be a trilogy of books set in Seanchan with Perrin and Matt. And I have to say, I'm incredibly upset that those books didn't happen. They sound so fun. And I do hope that one day, maybe, I don't think it will happen really, but it does feel like Sanderson, he's said that he's not interested in writing anymore. And I think that Harriet McDougall, who is Robert Jordan's wife, I think she's not really interested in any more being written without Robert. And but yeah, it's mad. It's really sad to know that he couldn't see the series through. Jordan obviously gave a lot of himself to these books. Many of the characters are based on aspects of his personality or aspects of his wife, friends that he knew. A lot of his own beliefs and philosophies are poured into the book. And there's a fantastic interview with him at the end of the audiobook for Knife of Dreams, which is all about how he wanted to see what a world where there was this idea that everyone was reborn on the wheel and history repeated itself in ages. And he wanted to see how that would work philosophically for a fantasy world. And yeah, this is such a weird book to discuss, and I think it'll be hard to do a spoiler discussion on it too, because it's not like, we can talk about our favourite moments, I can talk about Rand versus the Dark One. I can talk about, I'll just put my feet up. I can talk about the last battle. I can talk about the big deaths. I'm just going to change the camera position. Do you know what? We're lying back. Casual booktube, casual Friday. Well, it's Monday for you. It's Wednesday for me. Yeah, this is. I was less emotionally affected by the ending than I thought I would be. So, I've seen a lot of videos where people are like, "Oh, I've just read the Memory of Light," and they've got tears in their eyes, and I'm not the kind of person who doesn't cry at books. Have I cried at a book recently? I don't think so. I almost cried at Return to Adan. But there was no point in this where I was like, I'm going to cry. But maybe I would if I read it again, because I would know things were coming. There was a certain moment. There are two character moments where I really did think I was like, oof, that's got me. But there was no like wet eyes or anything like that, Yeah, I was surprised that I was not as emotionally like overwhelmed and involved as I thought I was going to be. I really did think I was going to like cry, but I didn't. However, I did really love it. I got goosebumps multiple times throughout the story. And I think that Sanderson being the like endings expert really helped this book, because we talk about the Sanderlanche when we talk about Sanderson's books, and A Memory of Light has an incredibly strong Sanderlanche, and one of the reasons why it's so strong is we get all these characters, and you get all these multiple conclusions. You get conclusions to character stories, you get conclusions to factions, you get conclusions to arcs of groups as well as specific characters. The prologue for this made me absolutely fall in love with Telmanus, who's like Matt's friend. Sanderson knows how to pick up these smaller characters and make you care. There were a couple of characters that I did not care that much about by the end. I mean, like, the community as a whole for the Wheel of Time like hates Gawain, right? I don't hate Gawain, but I didn't really care about what was going on with him. There was kind of a will they won't they tension with the like rings with him, but like it never felt like he wasn't gonna do it, I think the one thing I will say is, I've talked before about Padden Fane, and he was the aspect of the story that I felt was given short shrift. Sanderson had 3 books to close this out, and I feel like all 3 of those kind of deal with similar stuff, and it would have been nice to have been like, okay, book 1 we knock on the head this thing, book 2 we knock on the head Padden Fane, book 3 we knock on the head the Dark One, I feel like that was a bit of a misstep, because he's in the book, like extremely mild spoilers, he's in it, but I just don't think he gets the screen time that his earlier involvement in the story he should have gotten. Yeah, it's such a weird book to review, because like you really do kind of need to go in deep on spoilers on it, but like all I can tell you is that I was extremely satisfied. I thought the ending was fantastic. I think that it'll be hard to top this for my book of the year. I think I don't hold any illusions that I think that there are any other books that will beat this to the punch. And yeah, I can say that I don't regret my time reading this series. I still hold that I'm going to reread this series. I've thought about it many times. I thought I was going to do it. I was like, oh, I'm going to reread The Wheel of Time. And that's why I bought paperbacks. And like my intention was, these are my reading copies of these books. I wasn't going to search out hardbacks or anything like that. I want to have the physical paperbacks. I want a really nice little Wheel of Time shelf, which I do have, and I want to own these books forever so that I can reread them. I can give them to my son, my daughter, and overall, it was a fantastic experience. I loved reading these books. I'm sad, really sad that they're over almost. I think I'm more sad that the story is over for me than like that's like the biggest emotion I think I have about this series, that I'm never going to read this world afresh again. Like I can read this series again, and I definitely will. I think probably many years time. I hope that I'm YouTubing forever, but time moves on. YouTube moves on. If they don't give a shit about 20-minute books about videos about books, and they stop sending people my way, maybe I'll stop one day. But I do really hope that I'll reread this and we'll talk about it again, you know. But for now, I guess that's the end. If you read A Memory of Light, I'd love to know what you thought. Pop down into the comments below. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, emotions. Whether you think it was a waste of time. Whether you think it's the best fantasy series of all time. I think I would probably say that right now. Of completed series that I have read, I do feel like this is the best. Yeah. I think so. It's the best completed series I've read. 14 books. 15 if you count New Spring. It's a lot of books. Like this video if you've liked it. Drop a comment down below and let's chat about A Memory of Light or any Wheel of Time book. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. There's more Wheel of Time book content coming up. So Matt and I will be doing a full spoiler discussion. I'd be shocked if it's under 2 hours because our last few have been 2 hours long. And I think Matt and I are also going to hope, if our availability lines up, to meet back up together and do a little bit more chatting about Wheel of Time once the finish has embedded within both of us. So maybe in September, October, look for a ranking of characters, for example, or a like the whole series, what are our thoughts style video. And the next series we're reading together, Malazan, Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson. So if you are a Wheel of Time fan and you've always been curious about Malazan, please stick with us and join our monthly book club and read along with us. If you have read Malazan and you want to see what I think about that compared to Wheel of Time, you're in the right place. I'm also reading Philip Pullman's Dark Materials right now, so if you're into that series, that's also coming up. I'm slowly working my way through the goats of the fantasy genre. So the order that I chose was Wheel of Time, Malazan, Realm of the Elderlings. I had already read the Farseer trilogy years ago. I'll probably reread it when we get to it. But for now, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm reading. So I hope that if you're a fan of any of those series, you stick around and join the community here. And if there's any series that you think are the goats of fantasy literature that I haven't read, then please drop them in the comments down below as well. I'd love to know about it. Thanks so much for watching, listening, interacting, sharing. Please, if you have other Wheel of Time friends, share this book video with them. It's been a bit of an emotional ramble and less of a coherent video, but I hope you'll allow me that, because this book really meant something to me, and this series in particular. I hope you have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.